So we are back, and we apologize for that long break. It's not a short break. We're trying to sort out one or two things to make sure this program, and we discuss the normal newspapers again, and interact with our viewers. So thank you for tuning in and also waiting for us to come back. I mean, Mr. Adedrame.
Indeed. I mean, sometimes technology seems to have a mind of its own and decides to do things that are unplanned. And so we apologize. But as Ibrahim says, thank you for those of you who've been patient. And we're still here.
Yes.
And we hope that...
so let's dig into the newspapers.
Yes.
On the Foroyaa newspaper, the unfinished story of KMC's promised workers land. I mean, it's the main headline of the Foroyaa newspaper. It's like the workers at KMC were demanding for the lands that they promised them, at a certain time. Now it's unfinished story of KMC's promised workers land.
So I'm not sure how much I know about this, but was it land that was promised to them by the council, or is it because I see the mayor is there?
Yeah, the mayor, the former CEO.
Former CEO, they're all there. Yeah, it would be interesting to know and delve into this one, but I confess I'm not. It didn't sort of, when I read the headline, it didn't come immediately to mind.
Absolutely.
This particular story.
So same here. Yeah, because I was wondering, well, when were they promised land?
Land, yeah. Or
where,
if that
how,
was...
What are the modalities,
on what basis?
On what basis,
yes.
Stuff like that. So there's so much detail that we need in order to be able
beyond
to
the headline.
really beyond the headline.
Yes, if only we had a colleague who could pick up the newspapers on his way to work. Oh, that was meant to be you.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I wasn't here.
He had done it a few times, didn't he?
A few times, yes. So, I mean, lawyer Martin calls for political decency ahead of 2026 election. Political decency.
I think this is a call we hear every
day.
Time there's a big election, and we call also, you hear people say, let's not have hate speech, because sometimes some of the kind of, the stuff, it strays into kind of the margins of hate speech. But the country doesn't really have a kind of a history of that, particularly in Boj. Am I right in thinking that?
Absolutely, we don't have a history of that, and we have to be honest here about liberal democracies. People do not say nice things. Really, the pillar of a democracy, liberal democracy, is tolerance.
Yeah, quite.
Sometimes people will say hurtful things.
Yeah.
There's no need really appealing to the moon or whatever. It's not going to happen. Yeah. So tolerance is really the linchpin of a liberal democracy. Not that people behave well.
Yeah, quite.
It doesn't work like that.
I've always drawn a parallel between here and my own country, Sierra Leone. I hear people in Gambia saying, "Oh, let's not have..." In Sierra Leone, when there's an election, presidential or parliamentary elections, it gets seriously violent.
Absolutely.
I mean, seriously. Police leave is cancelled, the army are on alert, and so on. And that's been the way since 1967, when, in that particular election, for the first time, an opposition party unseated the incumbent. And then, of course, even before they could be sworn in, we had our first coup d'etat. And the country has never had an election that's been entirely peaceful. There's always been like serious violence. So,
Election decency.
So when people talk about, decency here, I don't think, yes, maybe it's a case of let's always be on the alert, let's be vigilant, and let it not spill into the sort of thing that happens in Sierra Leone.
Especially in this age of social media.
Yeah.
Even the parties, they don't have control over really the people.
Yeah.
I can be anybody, come on social media pretending to be UDP supporter and just go and say all sorts of things. And then people will start blaming UDP. It's got nothing to do with UDP, for instance, something like that.
So
this is the social media. So nobody can control it.
That's why you need to gauge whatever you see properly to make sure, you understand where it's coming from. So you cannot conclude. The problem that we have as a people, we conclude very quickly.
Hey, I'm glad that you said
it's
that.
Not us as
You
a
understand?
people. It's not us as a people. It has become a global phenomenon.
Absolutely, absolutely.
It's
yes,
become a global
yes,
phenomenon.
yes.
It's like the internet and social media has taken away our ability to think, to reason, to question things. So we send things because somebody sent it to us and said it was verified and so on. You know, and yet of course it wasn't. You know, because it takes you probably a minute or two to verify whether what they said was true, but people can't be bothered.
And this is where
that
Fact Check
laziness.
Gambia plays. I
And
mean,
just
it's role.
fact check yourself.
Yeah.
You know,
They fact check
Fact-checking
a lot.
is one thing.
Yeah.
Reasoning
Reasoning
critically
is the thing,
with
yeah.
information quite another. So there are different things that you must do really in evaluating whatever is out there. It's like going to the market. This is the digital marketplace.
Yeah, quite.
So you're very careful what you buy
Yeah,
when you go
quite.
to the market, aren't you? It's the same thing. It's the same approach one must have to this digital media, really.
Indeed. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, so I mean, Mr. Momodu Mboj, thank you very much for
One story.
I mean, reviewing the stories with us.
Okay.
And,
The gremlins.
You know,
The
yes.
gremlins
This
defeated us.
story
Yeah,
took
yeah,
so much
so-
of our time.
So I know we will do this probably tomorrow again.
And just to say to the viewers, there are some very interesting stories across the newspapers. So if you have the time, please go out and
Yes,
buy a
absolutely.
newspaper
So
or
we'll
two.
take a short break. After the break, we'll engage John Charles Njai on the implementation of the Access to Information Act. So we'll be right back after the break.
Cash out. Dial *323#, enter your secret PIN and get your one-time password. Give it to any Q Money agent and you are done. Send money to your loved ones with a few taps. Dial *323#, enter the amount and confirm. It's that easy. Top up your cash power on the go. Dial *323#. Register your meter number and receive your token via SMS. Q Money. This is your calpe way to manage your money.
Ultima alnga senia ken jigolti akanake watini wati seniati setal sunu rew alnga na Gambia seniande ka nyinyandi adung sejata kendi asotoje katung atelemun na bankoti ningam bulo du nyokoto nza tankano setal sunu rew kan na Gambia banko seniande abe datile fangolela mini dunia nyi nati alle nang wallon Q Group Foundation te ke sembenti yande Q sel sunu boss walla fanane Ministry of Environment ye blo du nyokono woni NEA NRA BCC KMC warning BAC.
Q Money is changing the game with mobile money payment. Now, you can pay your QCell mobile broadband plan faster, easier, and way more convenient with your Q Money wallet. Just open the Q Money app or dial *323#. Select option 4 to buy or pay your broadband plan in seconds. No stress, no lines, no last-minute panic. Whether you're streaming your favorite shows, browsing the web, or working from home, stay connected without missing a beat.
Yeah, so we are back. This is QTV This Morning. I am Ibrahim Abalde. Now let's move on to the other segment of this program. And we have John Charles Njai, Vice Chairperson, Gambia Information Commission. And we'll be taking a look at the Gambia implementing the Access to Information Act. and Gambia participates, and the Information Commission held a roundtable with media and civil society to boost collaboration on implementing the Access to Information Act.
And can I just hold my hand up and say I was at that round?
Please do, because this morning you were trying to, I mean, yeah, so...
Yes, I mean, Commissioner, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
And I think we can start by saying that this is one of a series of activities that yourself and other commissioners have been engaged in trying to kind of widen understanding of the Act and you know, sort of to whom it's for and so on. And if you could just say one of the things which was very interesting, because a question was asked of one of the participants, a journalist, and said, who can make an access to information request? Does the person have to be Gambian? Can they be a child and so on? And sad to say, the journalist completely got it wrong. But can you tell us?
Well, yeah. Well, thank you very much for having me on this program. And this is very helpful also for the Commission because it's an opportunity for us to let the nation know what the Commission is doing. I think one of the things in Gambia is that people are very quick to say there is nothing happening. But again, you need the resources, the financial muscle to do sensitization and publicity. But this is a welcome opportunity, and we thank QTV for the opportunity. But as per the law, who can access information or who has the right to request for information? The law is very clear. It is open to anybody.
Yes.
It's not whether you are Gambian or non-Gambian. It's not whether you are a child. I mean, there could be information that someone under 18 desires to have. If you are doing a research in the university or in school and you need something from public office, information, you should be able to make that request. So the law is very clear. It's not restricted to anybody. And the second thing is you do not even need a reason for requesting the information.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a right to access information. So what I think in the drawing up of the law was to ensure that it's very fair and accessible, open, so that there are no too many hitches.
And it's a single sentence that nails it. I'll read section 11. It's very short. It says, subject to this act, every person has a right to access information from a public body. Public body. And then you ask, what is a public body?
Exactly.
And then the act defines what is a public
So
body.
I just wanted to ask, are all public bodies clearly covered in the Act?
Yeah, I mean, the public bodies, in fact, there are even some private bodies that could also you could request information from. If a private body has a contract with government and the public funds are, funding a particular project implemented by executed by a private body, then you can demand information from that private body.
Regarding that contract.
Regarding that contract, yes. Not other things.
Other stuff that they do.
In fact, thanks very much, because that's important. Before people,
people start thinking.
And also, access to information is not just any information. It's information held by public bodies.
That's right.
But also, the Act is clear that not also every information held by public bodies should be accessible. There are exemptions.
Yeah.
Okay.
So public bodies are generally ministries, departments, agencies, public enterprises or state-owned enterprises. The commissions, even the Information Commission now is a public body. All bodies that are receiving funds from the taxpayers are public bodies.
Yeah. So what about those institutions that are not part of the informations that are to be related? I mean, why are they exempted?
Well, it depends on which institutions are you talking about. Because, for instance, if someone comes to QTV and be asking, or QCell or QTV, and ask some information from QTV, QTV is not receiving money from a taxpayer. They are doing business.
That's right.
So that's a private entity.
Which and I'm glad you mentioned that.
It's
and I'm
important.
glad because a journalist did approach me saying that he intended to put in an access request to QTV. And I had to tell him, but we're not a public body. and as Commissioner Njai has said, you know, you have ministries, you have executive agencies of ministries, and so on. Those are public bodies. This is a private, QTV Group is a private entity.
And again, even information, like I said earlier, information that should be requested should not be information that has to do with third parties.
Yes, correct.
So there is a protection of the rights of and personal data.
That's right.
Also,
That's right.
because in fact, interestingly, the Information Commission has a dual mandate:
Yes.
access to information and data protection and privacy.
Exactly.
So we have two laws that we are implementing.
Yeah. So these public bodies, do they have designated information officers?
Yes. Right now, where we are, we've sent a list of the public bodies and the information officers that they have given on to us, to the Ministry of Justice and AG Chambers, and they will be gazetting that very soon. Very soon, I'm sure you'll see in the papers that there is a list from the public bodies, and we have over, I think, close to 50 bodies that have complied.
I was told 49.
Yeah, 49.
Yes,
I think. Yeah. So we have those that have complied.
Yes.
And we are hoping that very soon the Gazette will be out, and the public will know who in which public body to request information from.
Okay.
And one of the things that, again, Commissioner was at the meeting that I said I attended, that we wanted to make clear is that for a lot of the ministries and also for a lot of the journalists who were there, they seemed to think that the information officer was the same as the comms officer. Like every ministry has a communications officer. No, that person is not the communicator. This is quite a senior role because of the kind of the onerous nature of it. You know, that if you make a request, that person has to be in a high enough position to be able to make the call as to whether to give the it's not just asking for, oh, you know, we want you to come and attend this workshop, seminar, or so, oh yeah, here are the details. It's not about that. It's a lot more.
I think it's also important to clarify a bit. I think when the law was passed, the Department of Information Services was very proactive in trying to get information. Well, they call them information officers, information officers initially, but I think there was a little misunderstanding.
Yes.
But then, because these were junior officers, journalists that they brought in to help with the communications in the ministries.
That's right.
But then, as we engage, we discovered that no, these could not be called the information officers according to the Act. So now those have been designated as communication officers.
Okay.
So the information officer is a senior officer in the ministry or the department or the agency or the public body that should be able to answer to requests for information.
So bodies will have communication officers. They'll be different from the information officer.
Information officer is strictly there for the access to information law.
Yes. Okay.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that if anybody makes a request, your request is addressed to the information officer or the deputy information officer, as the case may be.
Yeah.
And they should be the ones now to respond.
Okay.
They are the liaison between the public and the institution when it comes to access to information.
So, Mr. Njai, now let's talk about the citizens. I mean, you know, who can request for information? And are they also informed about their rights to requesting for information? Yeah.
Well, as Mr. Darami said, everybody, the law says everyone can access information,
not just
can
for
request for information. And let me say this, even though the Act was passed in 2021, but prior to 2021, through the efforts of the Gambia Press Union and the CSO Coalition on Access to Information, which I was the chair, we went throughout the country to different communities talking about access to information, that the bill then. And then when it became law, we went around again. Recently, through the support of Gambia Participate, the commission also went throughout the nation. But sensitization is not enough. It will never be enough because the
and
more
this
you
is
talk,
part of that.
Yes, this is part of it also. So
Right.
we also would really embrace support from media houses to call us to be able to, because we right now have resource constraints, and because of that, it is difficult to engage in media outreach. But the media houses across the country can always call us. We will be very glad to go. We have 5 commissioners, and we'll be very glad to go out, associate. And again, partners that are willing to support, you can have a sensitization like Gambia Participates did. I mean, very rich consultations, civil society, the media. And we went around the country, as I said earlier. So the citizens are being engaged.
Okay.
I think the other thing is, yes, the citizens are engaged, but I also think that to some extent, sometimes the citizens don't, they will be quick to say the law is there, but it's not being implemented. But then you have to ask how many requests have been put in.
Sure.
And if the request is put in, it doesn't mean that it is already on the desk of the Information Commission. Because sometimes people say, well, the Information Commission is not doing anything. If the information doesn't come to us, if you don't bring a complaint to the Commission, what will we do? And let me also be quick to say that for the complaints that have come to the Commission, we have tried to engage. One of the things that is left, that is pending in the implementation of the law, is the finalization of the regulations. And that is going before Cabinet very soon. And I hope Cabinet will finish and then send the regulations, because the regulations are important when it comes to full implementation of the law.
And one of the reasons, Commissioner, why the regulations are important is because that then sets out how you can sanction a ministry or an agency that fails to comply, including fines.
Exactly.
But of course, unless and until we have the regulations, you cannot.
So what we have been doing is really to try to bring greater understanding between the requester and the information holder, which is the ministry or the department, the public body. And that has borne some fruit in some cases. But in the absence of sanctions, like if people know, well, I'm not going to be penalized, then people can drag their feet. But if the regulations are finalized, then the Commission now is able to, put its foot down and say, if you don't do A, B, C, D, this is what the law says. And,
So this act, Access to Information Manual, I mean, is it available to the public?
Act? Yes,
the act
I have it here. It's only 53 pages long, and it's available for people. They can download it.
Okay.
From various websites, including from the GPU website, from the Ministry of Information website, and it's been tidied up and it's all nice and neat now.
Nice.
And it's a very progressive act.
So 53 pages. And
it's a very progressive act.
Well, yes, and if I can just pick up on what the Commissioner says about how progressive it is. I mean, I've bored people with the fact that I worked on the British equivalent of this, the Freedom of Information Act. And when I became an information officer in relation to my other roles, if you approached me for information from my ministry and it was not within our ministry, all I had to tell you was, it's nothing to do with us. And go and find out where it should go. The Gambia Act is much more progressive than the British one. Because the Gambia Act compels the ministry to find out and tell you where you need to go to get the correct information. The British one doesn't have it, and anybody watching this can check it.
Yeah, so then that will drive us next, Mr. Ade, to procedures of accessing the information. It's one thing to talk about access to information, but what are the procedures to access? Are they simple?
No, it's very simple and straightforward. As a matter of fact, if you need information from any public body, what you need to do is to write to the public body. What we're trying to do is to maybe develop forms so that it's easy. And when our website also is up and running, these forms will be available that you could now take the form and send to any ministry. This is the information. What is important is to state the information you want and be as specific as possible. So you don't just write to a ministry, I need your report.
Go on.
What report? What year? What was it about? So when you write and address it to the information officer, be specific. If there is a date of the report, you send it to the information officer of that ministry. Now, the law says you have up to 21 days. But first and foremost, when the information officer gets the request, it's good for them to acknowledge.
Just acknowledge.
To
receipt
tell the
of it,
individual, we've received your request, it is being processed.
Yeah.
Now, in the processing of that request, the law says you could take up to 21 days to find, because of records and everything. And after the 21 days, but if the 21 days is not sufficient for the ministry or the public body to get the information, they could tell the requester, well, we need another 14 days to do this. If they don't respond to you within the 21 days, then you, as the requester, you could take it that it's a denial for they are not giving you what you want, and you can appeal to the highest authority of that public body. Maybe the minister, permanent secretary, or somebody that can give you, can hear your case and possibly give you the redress that you seek. If they don't respond, then now you can, or they tell you they cannot give you the information, and you look at the law, it's information that you believe as a requester it should be given. Then now you come to the commission and now bring your complaint to the commission. I wrote to Ministry X on this date requesting for this information, and they have refused to give me the information. Can the commission come in? And that's when we come in. But there is something that some other people have done. They've copied us in correspondence.
Right.
And when they copy us, even though it's not addressed to us directly, but sometimes to facilitate, we will call the public body and say, well, have you seen this request? I hope you're processing it. And just to have that, because one of the things that the commission doesn't want to be seen as is like a confrontational body or a witch hunting body. So we are here to facilitate access to information. And I can tell you that the more information the public have, the better for even the public bodies. Because when I was in civil society, one of the criticisms I had against public service, the public bodies, is that there is information, there is work being done, but it is not being shared with the public. And this is the government now saying to the public, we want to be accountable, we want to be held accountable. So help us to help you to be better in governance, to be transparent. And the public, the citizens, must make use of this opportunity. How do you make use of the opportunity? Request for the information. If it's not given to you, bring it to the commission, and the commission would intervene.
So when it is requested, timely response to is very significant. Are you highlighting that?
No, it is. And this is why, even though the law says 21 days, what we say to public bodies, and mind you, we are also a public body, as I can say, that people can request information from us. What we say, even though the law says 21 days, it will be mean of any of us in public service to say, yes, okay, the law says 21 days.
So we'll wait
I have the information now. Why would I have to wait for 21 days? Because this is service to your people. And when I was in civil society, sometimes you're doing concept notes, project proposals. You need data. And some of these things are time bound. Students that are doing research, you cannot wait 21 days sometimes. So for us in public service, our appeal is, if the information is there, make it available, because we are there to serve the public. And that, there is no compromise on that. So even the law says 21 days, fine. But if you can give it before the 21 days, even better.
And if you're making the request, make sure, as Commissioner says, that you're specific. And he says if you're dissatisfied, you can go to the commission. But of course, in the modern day, what tends to happen is people go on social media and complain. And I'll give a very quick example. Somebody complained, I won't mention his name, he's a journalist, and he complained that he had put in a request to the Ministry of Justice saying that he wanted details of all the names and the qualifications of people who had applied to be an anti-corruption commissioner. Now, this was when, and I raised this at the meeting we were talking about, because the person who responded from the ministry said that because they didn't want to cause embarrassment to the people who had applied and not received it, they were refusing the request. Now, there's nothing in the Act which says you can refuse a request because of embarrassment. But also, I said to the journalists, you're asking for people's personal information. You're not entitled to it. It's not. You're not asking about yourself. You're asking about some third party, somebody else's information. that's what they should have told you. So it was clear that the person who responded probably wasn't an information officer, because an information officer ought to have known that the reasons for refusal were you can't request somebody. I can't ask about your, and so I gave him, we then got engaged in a kind of argument, because he said, no, this is public information because they applied to be part of a public body. I said, okay, supposing the ministry gave you the names of all these people and then you splashed it in the newspapers and their current employers saw that.
Exactly.
I thought, oh, so this guy's working for us, but he's applying to go and work somewhere else. No, it's none of their business. It's none of your business. It's their personal information, and you're not entitled to it. So, you know.
And again, Adi, you're very right also. Sometimes I think there is also a misunderstanding, because recently my colleague, Commissioner Ture, said someone requested some information from the police, a journalist. And I think the person just wrote about the needed information about rape cases.
Right.
And they sent it to the police. And, I think whether the police responded and said, no, we're not giving you that. So I called I tried to find out what exactly do you want. It was basically they needed statistics of how many rape cases. But the way it was written, the police interpreted it like they needed personal details.
Right.
And you are not going to be now splashing the names of victims. And when I called the AIG, he was very graceful and he said, no, if it's statistics, then I don't have a problem with that. And, so that's sometimes the role also we play. That when things come, we try to facilitate, get the public bodies, okay, this is what these individuals want. Sure. But sometimes also the individuals making the request are not very detailed, in what they want. So those misunderstandings can cause delays.
That is
and sometimes, people take it that, well, the public body doesn't want to give out information. But in fact, I can tell you that all public bodies that we've engaged, that complaints have come to us, they have been very, very cooperative. We have not had any stiff resistance yet from any of the public bodies. So I think, one, this is something that with time would become a culture. Because if we know where we are coming from, where in public service information is hoarded, or you are even afraid to give out information because of the repercussions, I believe that the time will come that it will become a culture. And again, in the law, there is what we call the proactive disclosure. This year, we are going to start very soon to have a format for what we call the implementation plan. The implementation plan would be what every public body is going to send to the Commission and say, this is how we are going to implement proactive disclosure. For instance, if reports are ready, within a week, within 2 weeks, we would publish. There is some information that you should not wait to be asked. You get my point? If you, for instance, Immigration Department, I mean, why should Immigration Department wait for somebody to come and say, passport nyatala? What are the requirements to have a passport? Those things should be out there. Those reports of bodies, you have done your annual report, or you have done an activity report. You just upload it. The other challenge we have is websites. Public bodies' websites are very dormant. So when we come to proactive disclosure, this is all the Commission is going to be looking at. Because the Commission has a mandate to monitor, to see whether public bodies are ready to access information. But we are building up the Secretariat, so it's going to take some time. So it's now the 5 commissioners that are doing Secretariat and every other work. But we will get there. I can assure you that the Commission is very committed to ensure the full implementation of the law.
So finally, let's talk about persons with disabilities. I mean, is there a special, access for them to make it easier? Because probably they might not be doing the normal transaction that a person can do. So are you considering something like that?
In fact, let me just say this. One of the things about the Commission is we are very much mindful. When we were established and we were getting office space, the first offer we had was a story building. They had no ground floor access. And one of the things we said was, we cannot do that because people living with disabilities must have access to the Commission. But just to show you that in our minds and in our hearts, we carry people with disabilities. But even the law states that if not only people with disability, even if somebody is illiterate and you need to fill a form, the information officer, it is their duty to help you to make that request. So people living with disabilities, people that are illiterate, with filling the forms, that should be available. And we are also very hopeful that we will have funds from UNDP to do the act in Braille form, and also introduce other things that will help ease the burden on people living with disabilities.
And if I could just very quickly, when it talks about public bodies, it says they have a duty to create, keep, organize, and maintain information. They have to be proactive, as Commissioner says. They have to submit their implementation plans, their annual reports, and their public information manual. You have to designate who the official information officer is. You have to designate who their deputy is. And you have to explain people's rights of access. And this is the bit he mentioned. You have a duty to assist the requester in whatever way they need assistance. Again, I said, this is a big leap from what is in the British Act, which this kind of, it copied a lot of things from that Act and maybe from others, but this doesn't exist in there about the duty to assist the requester and then response to requests. And you can write to the person and say, we need an extension beyond the 21 days because it's difficult to get the information. You know, somebody was saying, oh, does the information have to be digitized? No, it doesn't, as long as they have that information. So it might take, because it's in paper form, it might take longer to find. And so they will write to you and say, we're seeking an extension. And you have to give them that, as long as it's not an extension just to play for time. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Njai, for coming, Commissioner Njai, for coming on the program. And, you know, I hope Gambians will go through the Act and really understand how to request and what to request. And how are you going to put your request to? It's very important, you know. You know, we hope to engage you more so that we can sensitize the general public more on this Act.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Commissioner, for coming. Thank you.
So, viewers, we'll be right back after the break.
First time cross, really threatening, and it's dropped for Minte, rifled in! Out.
Did you know you can buy cash power using QMoney Wallet absolutely free?
This is QTV This Morning. I am Ibrahim Abalde and I'm with Mr. Adedrame. Interesting interaction there.
Well, people here, I think Tunkara referred to the Access to Information Act as my baby. It's something I'm very interested in.
Oh, wow, Mr. Adedrame. I was surprised how Mr. Adedrame, it's like you're one of the commissioners.
No, I'm not, but I've read the Act, and I really think that people can benefit from it. And that's why I wanted to stress the point that anybody can make a request, you know, but you have to make the right request. You can't ask for somebody else's personal information. You can ask for personal information about yourself. He mentioned about the Data Privacy Act, which they also police. You can make what is called a subject access request. You could write to any government department and say, what information do you hold about me? They have to give it to you.
Oh, wow, you can do that?
You can do that. So, you know, that is in that particular act. It's a separate act to this one, but it's the Data Protection and Privacy Act. But yeah,
so I'm afraid this is all we have. I mean,
sadly, the technical issues and the gremlins refuse to let us go on and do the rest of the program. So we hope to be back with you tomorrow. And hopefully everything would have been sorted out and the technology will behave.
Until then, have a wonderful day.
Have a great day.